Welcome to another episode of WTF Cinema.
Okay, now this one is cheating a little bit, but once I saw it, I couldn't resist. So here it is, the 1966 Batman TV series. Now, obviously, I can't do the entire series. As much as I would enjoy it, it would take forever, and by the end of it, this would no longer be WTF Cinema, but it would be WTF Batman. Which sounds fun now that I think about it, but still, I am just going to do the first 2 episodes, since in the old Batman series, everything is a 2-parter. We'll do the first 2 episodes, which is, you know, a story arc. I will say this first, as a disclaimer. As I've said in other videos, I don't read superhero comics. Any knowledge I have of Batman comes from the movies that have come out over the years. So, if during the course of this review I say something that is blatantly wrong because I never read the books, I own that. That's my bad. It's possible, although I kind of doubt it considering this is the 1966 Batman, and any of you who do read the comics that could prove me wrong probably aren't reading the comics from that time, so we'll see what happens. Some people in previous videos have suggested that I do research before I do one of these reviews or deconstructions. And I refuse to do that. I do my best to come to these reviews as the everyman. I try my best to come to them as untainted as possible, so I am just another person from society watching this story. If your movie or TV show requires that the audience do research before they can fully understand what the heck's going on, you have failed as a storyteller. Sure, sometimes research can enhance the experience of viewing, but it should never be required to understand what's going on. This is a self-contained medium. You don't have to pull up Wikipedia to understand what's going on in a movie. If that happens, you failed as a filmmaker, as a storyteller. I will stick by that. Now, sometimes I will know things about movies. When I'm doing the Mad Max films, I know a bit about Mad Max, but I try not to let that interfere with the review itself. Lastly, I know the show is meant to be campy. And I'm going to do my best not to point out the campier moments, because that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to point out logical inconsistencies. I'm here to point out where the writers stop making sense. That said, let's jump into Batman. So our episode begins with the ambassador from Mordavia attending the Gotham's World Fair. Wait, Mordavia? Isn't that the country from Quest for Glory 4?
Oh, there are so many questions I want to ask you, but I have to get home quickly. It is so dangerous out at night in Mordavia.
Anyway, the ambassador served an exploding cake. In the aftermath of the explosion, the police find a riddle. Gee, I wonder who our villain's going to be. The Joker doesn't usually send riddles, but this is the first episode of a Batman thing, so it's gotta be the Joker, right?
I don't know who he is behind that mask of his, but I do know when we need him. And we need him now.
So the police get together and decide that they are far too incompetent to defeat the Riddler. They failed every time they've encountered him before. So they call up Batman and Robin. Gee, isn't that nice of the police department to just come out and admit, we're worthless, let's call in the vigilante? That's what makes me feel safe in my home, when my police department just throws up his hands and says, bring it to help! We need help! So our heroes speed off in the Batmobile, aided by the fact that the film footage is in fast-forward mode. So we learn that the world's greatest detective sucks at riddles. Luckily, Robin's an expert. Seriously, for these first 2 episodes, Batman doesn't get a single riddle. Robin solves all of them. I don't know why the police called out Batman. They could have just called out Robin to defeat the Riddler, and then Batman could have just sat back at home, kicked his feet up on the Bat Ottoman, and relaxed. And here we get Batman and Robin spending a good 3 or 4 minutes describing to the police who the Riddler is and how he works. The police have already said that they've dealt with him many times before. I don't know why Batman's taking the time to explain to them how it works. Now, realistically, He's describing the Riddler to us, the audience. That's why you take this time. You have a character describe something that they know, so that the audience is now in on the bit. But typically when you do that, you don't have them explain it to people who already know this information. That's when writing is bad. Hey, Jim, remember that incident we had a couple of years ago where I did this and you did that and I did that and you did that and you said this and it was hilarious? Well, yeah, I was there. Yeah, but now the audience knows it too. See how stupid that is? So following the riddle that Robin figured out, our heroes head to the art museum.
Stand clear.
Good work, chum. Now that you've moved 2 inches to your left and put your hands up like this, it's safe to proceed. Now our heroes see the Riddler holding up the museum owner, so they bust in to stop it.
Holy ashtray, he did tip us off.
Is it just me, or is the Riddler acting a lot like the Joker in this?
Fred!
Oh, never mind. I guess that's normal. And here's the twist. And here's where this show caught me by surprise. See, it turns out this whole thing was a setup. It was a frame job. The Riddler wasn't stealing anything. He was in fact there on proper official business. But Batman jumped in and beat him up anyways, so the Riddler, who had photographers and lawyers standing by to witness the entire thing, sues the Batman for bat brutality, I guess. And I find this amazing. This is actually really clever. I did not expect this level of intelligence from a show that's supposed to be this campy. Because when Batman goes to court, he's going to have to reveal his secret identity. It's not like the police are going to be okay with fining and or jailing the Batman. They're going to need a name, an address, and he's not going to want to give away the Batcave, so it's going to be Wayne Manor. This is actually really, really smart. That's it. The Riddler just did what no Batman villain has ever done in any of these media before. He's unmasked the Batman. He won. The Riddler just won. I mean, we're 10 minutes into the show, but that's it. Game over. Batman lost.
After you've chewed over this one for a while, look for 2 more.
No! Don't give him another riddle. It's over. You won. You won. All you have to do is sit back and wait for the criminal justice system to unmask Batman. It's over. You won. Don't screw this up. Why are you screwing this up? So, after spending a while grieving over their folly, Robin points out that the solution to the next riddle could be hidden in the very paperwork they're looking at. So they rush off to the Batcave. Well, apparently first they rush into their costumes and into the Batcave. I guess there's some kind of unwritten rule that they can't be in the Batcave without putting on their costumes first, since they weren't planning on going anywhere. They were just going in there to research. It seems like an inconvenient rule. I mean, what if you left, like, your reading glasses in the Batcave or something? You're telling me that you spend 5 minutes putting on your tights, run in, grab your glasses, run back out, spend 5 minutes getting off the tights, sit down back in Wayne Manor, only to realize you left the lights on in the Batcave and repeat the whole thing? It just seems awkward. So we cut to this random gang that just kind of sits around and is chauvinistic for a while. And then the Riddler shows up to tie them into the main plot. Apparently this is his gang. But why is the Riddler in a completely different costume? Was he wearing his Sunday best earlier? Did the wardrobe department lose a lot of money and had to send back some of the question marks? They completely changed his costume. Why? This one, in some ways, is a little subtler than the other one. So, I'm not sure I understand the purpose behind it. I thought supervillains typically had a look that they stayed with. I thought there was some consistency to supervillain. I could be wrong. Let's just keep going. So it turns out the riddle leads to a discotheque. But Robin isn't allowed in because he's underage. It's just kind of cool that they're enforcing the age limit on superheroes, I guess. I mean, I guess it's a zero-tolerance policy. So Robin hangs out in the Batmobile while Batman goes inside to investigate. I love how Batman is wearing a skin-tight costume, but he's got no figure of any kind. I mean, I'm not one to talk about being well-shaped, but he's not cut. And he's not obese or fat. He's meh. in a skin-tight costume. There is no shape to him whatsoever. This is what I think when I think crime fighter. I think shapeless man in spandex.
Well, that was a crime, you purse-scrubbing pukes. And this is, the penalty.
Okay, it's the second thing I think when I think crime fighter. So Batman decides to take some time off from crime fighting to dance, which enables the villains to slip some drugs into his orange juice. While that's happening, Robin is kidnapped by the gang, and Riddler attempts to steal the Batmobile, only to be foiled by the anti-theft devices, which seem a little over the top. Since he can't steal it, the Riddler decides to blow up the Batmobile. Now, is it just me or does that seem like a really bad idea? The damn thing is nuclear powered.
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
So to be clear here, in the first episode of this show, Riddler has devised a plan to unmask the Batman, has drugged Batman, kidnapped Robin, and attempted to detonate a nuclear device in the middle of downtown Gotham. I really did not expect that level of competence from a villain in a show like this. Admitted, none of the plans have worked so far, but that's still pretty dastardly. Yeah, okay, that doesn't happen, because the Batmobile has a firefighting system. So Batman races out to the Batmobile, realizes Robin has been stolen, and tries to get away, but the police have been alerted to where the Batmobile is because of the anti-theft system going off like crazy. They pull up.
Out of my way, I said. I've got to go after Robin.
Hand me the key, Batman. I'm afraid you're in no condition to drive.
And arrest Batman for driving under the influence. The police have just arrested Batman for drunk driving. That's one of those sentences you never think you're going to say in life, like, no thank you, I've had enough sun-kissed, or, oh, I'm way too tired to have sex with you supermodels any longer. It's just special. Meanwhile, Riddler has Robin sedated in his hideout, and he has his assistant hand him a scalpel. Now, I know, in a show like this, he's not going to start carving up Robin. It's too dark for something that's meant to be lighthearted and fun. So my assumption is he's going to cut off the mask and reveal Robin's identity. Why did you go through all that effort, though? If you just sat on your butt, Batman's identity, and probably Robin's as a result, would have been revealed when the lawsuit came through. You won! Why are you screwing up your winning plan with more plans that probably won't work because you're the bad guy? So then he just throws the scalpel down and starts squeezing Robin's head into ice. 2 seconds before, you had your assistant hand you a scalpel. You held up the scalpel, and you said, you know, this is curtains for you guys, or whatever it was you said. And then you threw the scalpel down. You never used it. Why did you have her hand it to you? What was the point? You weren't even holding it for long enough to be threatening with it. You held it for like 2 seconds and threw it away again. What was the point of that? Anyway, that's it for the first episode of Batman. Join us next week. Same WTF time, same WTF channel.
Thank you for watching WTF Cinema. Until next time, what the f***, man?